Good afternoon to all our participants. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to GSC's June Travelogue. I'm Joe with the GSC office, and I'll be presenting, or not presenting, excuse me, I'll be moderating. Dana will be presenting on the Amazon rainforest. Dana is a retired pharmacist from Norton, Massachusetts. He and his wife love to travel and enjoy sharing their adventures with friends. They've been to Australia, the Galapagos Islands, Portugal, Germany, England, and have taken a European river cruise tour, to name just a few. Dana is also a Civil War buff and has been published 7 times on the subject. Pretty impressive. Um, for those who are joining us, feel free to just put your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom, and we will go over them at the end. Dana, thank you again for being with us, and go ahead and take it away.
Oh, thank you. You mentioned the 7 articles. They're in the most obscure magazines you'd ever find. I don't want to make myself into an expert there. But yeah, we a few years ago, my wife and I went to the Amazon rainforest, and we had a real good time. Now we're only going to spend a couple minutes really on the Amazon River per se. Most of the time, we're going to be in the rainforest. This is a map of the Amazon. You can see that a lot of countries are in the Amazon. The Amazon River starts about 100 miles away from the Pacific Ocean and then goes the wrong way and cuts all the way, rather than going the shortcut, goes all the way across the continent of South America. There's a tremendous amount of water through there. It's drains that whole area. If you look just about dead center of this, let's see if I can you'll see Manaus there. We're going to fly into the city of Manaus and pick up a boat from there. Now, here are some statistics on the Amazon. I know they're correct because I got them off the internet. 2.3 million square miles is the size of it. About 40% of the country of Brazil is in the Amazon. 8 other countries are also partly in the rainforest. The Amazon River starts, I mentioned, 100 miles and flows to the Atlantic. Uh, it's the second longest river at 4,000 miles. Only the Nile is longer. And it's said that at flood stage, it's 10 times the volume of the Mississippi River. 20% of the world's surface water flows through the Amazon. 50% of the Earth's remaining rainforest is there. Excuse me. There's over 8,000 different insects there. About 1,500 fish species there. You also, besides the river, you have streams, you have ponds, you have lakes. So there's a whole variety of fish swimming there. Also crocodiles, river turtles, dolphins. They have dolphins, which kind of caught me by surprise. We usually think of those as being in the ocean. Manatees can show up, and also Hollywood's favorite, piranhas. They have howler monkeys, squirrel monkeys, bats, vampires, and poison dart frogs. They're finding new species all the time there too, so those numbers will probably increase. Lots of birds there, woodpeckers, rosettes, spoonbills, herons, toucans, parrots. The parakeets around where I live, anyways, the sparrows are the most common bird, but down there it's parakeets. It was pretty colorful. Rubber trees was a major source of rubber before they came up with a way of making it artificially. Uh, Brazil nut trees can be at least 150 different types of different trees and plants per acre. If you wanted to study an acre, you would have your work cut out for you. It's very diverse. Up in the Northeast where I am, they'll have like pine forests. Um, and there's just all pine trees. They don't have that down in the Amazon. It's very diverse. And it's said that more than 1/3 of all the species in the world live in the rainforest. But you can't just go. You have to make a doctor appointment. You got to be treated for typhoid fever, malaria. You get pills to take while you're there. Yellow fever is another vaccine. Dengue fever, there's no vaccine. You have to make sure you bring bug repellent, bring heavy duty bug repellent. Traveler's diarrhea is something you have to watch out for. You might want to bring some medication for that. Got to be careful with the water. I always find it interesting when someone's being real careful, they'll get a Coca-Cola and then they put ice in it. Uh, I guess it works for them. Uh, and don't forget your passports and visas. They're very particular on visas. The city of Manaus, if you remember back, that's in the dead center of the continent, but it's a large city that's a seaport. Uh, Freighters can travel up the Amazon River from Manaus to the Atlantic Ocean all through the year. There's that much water going through there. Petrochemicals, oil, shipbuilding, lumber, soap manufacturing, and tourism are the big industries there. So let's just take a quick city tour. First up, and there's I think two here that I cheated on. This is a postcard. This is a postcard of the hotel that we stayed at in Manaus. It's just outside the city. It has two pools. It has its own zoo there, a shopping area. It was pretty impressive place. When I walked in there, I thought it was, I would have guessed 1890 maybe. Big mahogany staircases. They built it in the late 1970s, and they built it that way to recreate a early 1800 hotel. Now, the river is their main thoroughfare. All of the boats here that you see here have gone up and down the river, and they will pick up workers from the little villages up and down the river, and they beach themselves there. People get off, and they're right there at work. Uh, we're there at the end of the dry season, so you see how low the water is. That water will be right up to the docks when they during the rainy season. And so we took a tour as we go through. We went through their fish market, and first thing my wife said is, "I don't think we're eating fish while we're here." And the reason, if you notice, there's no ice there. We're right at the equator. It's 85 degrees, and the fish are just lying out there with no refrigeration at all. So we decided we would pass on that. If you've ever been to Boston, you'd go to like Haymarket Square, which is their main farmers market. This is what this is a farmers market where the fish are sold on one end, and then you go down and here are all of the various fruits and vegetables that you'll see there. You can't just buy a bunch of bananas. You have to buy the whole stock. We had one of these on the back of our ship hanging up, and you could just, anytime you wanted a banana, you could just go up and pick one right off the stalk. I didn't mean to get everybody's legs in this picture, but I just thought it was pretty colorful, and I couldn't exactly tell them to get out of the way. So I did the best I could, but just gives you an idea of the what a colorful place it is, and you can recognize some of the fruits and some of them. Who knows? They're more exotic than what we would have here. This is a Brazil nut. If you notice, it looks like almost a coconut, but inside is the nuts inside. They This is a very important source of nutrition for the locals, especially back in the 1700s. They named the country. It's such an important nut. They named the country after the nut. All right, Brazil gets its name from the Brazil nut. This is one of their parks. They have beautiful statues. It's a regular city, just like we'd have here. What I thought was interesting was the pattern that they have down below with the wavy pattern. That'd be interesting after you've had a few drinks to try to cross that parking lot or that park there. But right to the side of that is the Opera House. Now they built this in the 1890s. The French German rubber barons were there, and they had control of the rubber, worldwide rubber trade. In fact, if you decided you wanted to take some seeds out of the country, they would not allow it. If you were caught with some seeds that you were going to plant in a tropical area where you could grow your own rubber trees, if you were caught with the seeds, you would be executed. So they took it quite seriously. They wanted to control that. So they built this beautiful opera house. And then they went to Europe and they managed to get one of the Europe's finest dance and singing troops to come here, and they came here, and within 2 weeks, it only took 2 weeks, about half of them were dead from yellow fever. So back then, they didn't have the vaccines. They didn't even know that it was caused by mosquitoes. So just how many other European troops do you think came there to perform after this? And if you said none, that's probably about right. They pretty much it fell into disrepair. And luckily, they realized what a treasure they had and they restored it. And inside, they have concerts now, and you have the old style with the gold and everything there that you see in the old opera houses in Europe and in some of the big cities. Now, we're going to be on the Rio Negro, and I'm going to test you on this a little later, but Rio Negro means Black River. But it's not really black. It's similar in color to strong tea, but it looks black from a distance. The color comes from acid in the water. And it's caused by the vegetation upstream that doesn't quite break down completely. All right, so this is a little blow up of the map that you saw in the beginning. Uh, Manaus is just a little bit off center there. And we're going up the Rio Negro, which is right here. We're going to go right up that area there. This is our yacht, our such as it is. That the cruise ships. If you've been on a cruise ship, you expect to see a couple thousand people. There were just 9 rooms, 18 people, tourists on the boat. You had a crew of about 5 or 10, probably closer to 10. But it's a very small ship, and they don't have a lot of gasoline on board. So they said, well, we're going to run the generator so you'll be able to take a hot shower, and we're going to run it once a day at noontime. So at noontime, everybody took their showers. And since it's a small ship, they couldn't bring a lot of water from Manaus. What they do is they pump water from the river, and it goes up to a holding tank up on the top floor there, and then it flows by gravity down into your room for a shower. So if you remember the name of the river, it's Rio Negro, which means black river, but it's really brown water. And so every day my wife got to shower in brown water, and you can only imagine what she thought of that. This is the dining hall. A real estate agent would call that cozy. It is very small. You were kind of jammed in there, but everybody went with the flow. You're If you wanted a drink, you went to the refrigerator and it was an honor system. You just had to sign for any drink that you took out. This was our cook. Now she's putting everything out buffet style. And this is just the start of it. This was lunch. And she's just starting to put food out there. And she's got more, might have been breakfast. But anyway, she's bringing more and more and more food out. And she has a kitchen or galley about the size of your bathroom. So I don't know how she did it, but she always kept us well fed. Usually the amount of food filled up that table, and then behind her is another little area where the dishes are. Sometimes there'd be food put over there. Here are some dolphins. They were very hard to take a picture of. They just come up quickly for air, and you just have to go with the flow, try to take the picture as fast as you can. It also was raining at that time, but you can see that the freshwater dolphins are there. This is a postcard. I cheated on this one. What happens? You get on in the river, and let's say if my cursor is showing up, you'll see it. You look to the left and you look to the right, and you say, "Well, wait a minute. I thought everything was real big here. It doesn't look bad at all." But when you look and see the aerial view, you're not looking at the river, actual riverbank. You're just looking at a little island almost. So yeah, you get confused a little bit thinking, oh, this isn't much, but it really is. When you go through the jungle, the green leaf area of the plants can vary depending on the season. They expand during the dry season, so they pick up as much sunlight as they can, but they have to droop during the rainy season. It allows the rainwater to drain off so that they don't get moldy and fungus or anything like that. So the the leaves do just drop a little bit in the winter or rainy season. A typical day would be up or very early. We'd get on the boat ride before sunrise, go out into, or we could go out into a little meadow or up a small stream, and we would then stop and you would watch and listen to the jungle wake up. It was awesome. Then back for breakfast to the Tucano, then we'd take a hiking tour, go back for lunch, and of course you shower about that time, then another boat ride, then dinner, and then a nighttime boat ride. And these are the boat tours that we use, the long canoes with a motor in the back. Our guides are really good. They could make bird whistles and stuff and talk to the one guy who started making noises and bird calls, and one there was another bird that was answering him. They were quite well schooled. Most of them grew up, or the two we had grew up in the jungle, and they realized that they had to learn English if they wanted to make some money. So they learned English and they started doing these tours. Now we went up this little side creek, little side tributary, and I left it in here. There's not much to see, but when you look, you see there's bedrock there, and then the roots and the trees go across the bedrock. Around here, the roots go into the ground. There, they run across the ground. They can't get into that rock, so they go across. Is a toucan that was up there. It only took me about 30 shots. Every time the camera went click, he would turn his head. So I wanted to get a good picture of his bill. And sometimes they fly off. I have hundreds of pictures of just branches. They can get very frustrating to take pictures of. Here's a heron. He was right by the side of the boat, basically. Uh, as you can see, we're fairly close to the shore. I did have probably my zoom lens when I took this, but we're not that far away from well, it's not really the riverbank. That's just an island too. A yellow-hooded blackbird, he posed for me, so I figured I'd take his picture. He was in a little meadow that we were in. We were in luck. Our guides told us that the princess orchids probably would usually open up about 2 weeks after we were there, but they were there, so that was kind of cool. And I heard a racket. This was a few days into it, and by then I had learned what they were. I knew they were uh, yellow and blue and yellow macaws, and I spotted them flying overhead. So I just pointed the camera upward and took a bunch of pictures and hoped for the best. So amazingly, this one came out. A lot of pictures that I take, just dumb luck, I'll admit. My wife calls this picture the Partridge Family. If those of you who are around my age probably remember the singers, the Partridge Families, but just a bunch of birds lined up on a tree. Just we were going by them. They didn't move. We just were paddling at this time, not using the engine and just gliding along. Now, what's kind of cool, if you look carefully at the bird, it's got that blue eye, and then you have this almost the skull, like a pointed skull cap on them. It is kind of cool, kind of exotic. And this is a woodpecker, a red-crested woodpecker. Uh, I spotted him. It's funny, the guides would spot stuff that none of us saw, and this one I happened to spot. So I was kind of proud of that. Here's a parrot, festive parrot. Again, another one tried to take pictures. They kept turning its head, but I finally got this one of them. Now, as we were going along, when you're up in the early morning or late at night, the rays of the sun come in at a nice angle, at a sharp angle, so that what happens, it makes the colors pop a little bit more than they normally would if it was like noontime. So this was early in the morning, and the rays are coming in, just making the yellows and all just pop. It was dead calm, so we got a good reflection there. Now, so after our morning tour, we would go hiking and we'd all wear hats, was required. They highly recommended long sleeve shirts and long pants. Yes, it is hot there, but you still had to wear that because you don't know what you're going to be brushing up next to. You don't want to get anything that is not friendly to humans on you. Also, the hats, if there's a monkey up above you, monkeys are terribly territorial, and they will throw, well, let's call it stuff. They will throw stuff at you, foul smelling, and uh, and you do not want that in your hair, so you want to put a hat on at that time. And this one was pretty exotic. This vine that was growing there was unbelievable. So I had to take that picture. Now, what you can't see that well, but on the bottom of the gentleman's legs, there we had to wear leather leggings in this section of the Amazon. We weren't real. We just did it. A lot of us said, "Well, we know we're going to get in trouble if we don't, because there's got to be something there that we don't want biting us, like a snake or a scorpion or something." So they had us wear these leather leggings, which was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting. Haven't done that before. Now, when you get to these logs, this is a log. A lot of their logs are hollow. So what happens is you get to them around here. If you were going to crossing this, first thing you do is step on it, lift yourself up and over the other side. You can't do that here. If you put your weight on it and try to get over it by stepping on it, it might break. And now your foot is in somebody's home and you don't want to do that. So what you do is you have to straddle when you cross any log, you have to straddle it. So as we were walking up, we were walking way the heck in the jungle from the boat. The boat's maybe, I don't know, quarter mile, half mile behind us. And we come across this guy's farm. And they said, oh, yeah, he brings his crop in June. He'll bring his crop down to Manaus and market it there. We're like, how the heck does he get it? And they said, oh, he just loads it into his boat. And we're there like, boat? Well, come to find out, this is the dry season. And during the rainy season, the river will flood so much, it'll cover that whole distance that we walked and will go right up to his front door. And all he has to do is just take everything out of his house, just drop it into his boat and go to Manaus to market his food. Now, what is he making? Well, I'll get to that in just what is he growing, but I'll get to that. To harvest it, he puts this basket and he wears the strap around his forehead, and that frees his hand. So all he does is he's able to grab stuff and just throw it over his head into the basket. It then has to be pulverized, and it also has to be washed up, strained numerous times. It has cyanide in it, a type of cyanide. If you don't wash it out and bleach it out enough, you're going to have a poison. So what they do is they bleach it, and then they make sure none of their farm animals or pets get anywhere near the water, because that will kill them. So they put it through that strainer, and then they start cooking it. And you'll see these stoves, fireplaces, whatever you want to call them, all up and down the river. And he is getting his product there, and he's stirring it up so it doesn't burn. And this is a type of tapioca. And they put tapioca in everything. We had tapioca soup. We had which I had never had before. It was pretty cool. Uh, then the guys on the ship, the crew, they like to put it dry onto their food. And I tried it. I'm not real daring on that, but I put a minute amount onto some of my meal. And unfortunately, to me, it just tasted like beach sand. I didn't find anything that special about it, but they seem to like it. So, in fact, the crew insists upon having it. So then we came across a hole in the ground in our guide. Not the best idea if you don't know what you're doing, but he takes a stick, that little green line there, and pokes it down the hole. And what comes out is a tarantula. And the people that were with us, they were from Phoenix, and they're like, "Oh, we've seen tarantulas, and it's not that big a deal." And then this thing comes out, and it's like the size of a small pet. It's about good 3 inches long. It was quite a big tarantula, and I noticed the way that my guide was holding his hand. Then he was an odd way, and then I realized what he was holding is a syringe with an antidote in there, just in case somebody got stung by the tarantula. Bird of paradise, just growing wild, but there was only two of them there. And then if you walked a few feet, you might find another one here, but they don't grow in bunches. They're very scattered. Now in the middle, it looks like a stick, and that's why it's a stick bug. Uh, it was moving, so in fact, I would have missed it, but it moved just as we were getting close to it. So I was able to take a good picture of it. Some of the exotic things you see down there. I had mentioned all the flooding that happens during the rainy season. The wasps, they build their nests high in the tree, not anywhere close to the ground. And this is termites, same thing. A lot of the termites, when we were in Australia, they had the termite nests were all on the ground. Here, they're all up in the trees. They know that they're going to flood out, so they have to be up high. Then everybody was commenting on the monkey. We were lined up, and I was at the end, and everyone's looking up, looking at the monkey. I look up, all I see are leaves. I'm like, I don't see it. Well, at the end of the line is one of the shipmates, one of the crew. So he taps me on the shoulder and motions to me to come back a little bit. So then I come back and there he is. So I got my camera out, autofocus. It focused it on leaf number one, and then it focused on leaf number two, and finally I put it on manual focus and said, "Well, here goes. I got a cataract, but here goes." And I did get that picture after just a lucky shot. And the thing is, when you're taking wildlife pictures, you always take two in case one doesn't come out. My camera went click and he scampered away. So I only got the one shot, but luckily he turned out pretty good. If you tilt that picture upside down, you can see a better recognition of his face. He's a pretty cool looking guy. Another one I tried to get a cool looking face on was this monkey. He was right by the side of the river. He picked his own food. We did not at any time feed the animals. The only time we probably broke that rule was when we baited our hook when we were fishing. Other than that, we were uh, not feeding the animals. This guy, he'd look at me and I'd have the ideal picture lined up and I would go click. And just as I went click, he'd turn away. But I don't know, maybe I had to offer him some money or something. But yeah, he was very temperamental. But he was there. There was a couple of them there. So it was kind of cool. Then we picked up this bug. He had his own chair. He started around day three, and he was there for about 2 or 3 days. And everybody left him alone. Nobody, he was here to do his own thing. Then we came across a small fishing village. Now they don't flood out there, but because it's raining so much, they have to lift their buildings up off the ground, otherwise they will rot. So that is why their buildings are all up about a foot, foot and a half, just to keep them dry. If you look a little bit to the left in the bottom there, you'll see there is a chicken that's running around. There were chickens running around the street. It was kind of interesting. They did have a generator there that provided them with power for an hour or two a day. They had next to the generator it was kind of interesting. They had a telephone with a satellite dish there, and that's how they would make their phone calls there. They only had the one telephone in the town. There's about maybe 30 houses there. Beyond and back is where they had some farming areas where they would grow food, but most of the time it was fishing. There were a lot of boats there. One boat was going out just as we were there, and I couldn't believe it. The way it was running, you could tell it was like a 1930s engine. It was just going putt, 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 putt. It was just like the African Queen or something. It was an interesting boat there, not the most up to date. They did know we were coming, so they loaded up the community center with trinkets and things, artwork, and all for people to buy. So, of course, we did honor them by buying some of it. I mean, that's how they make their living. So why not? This is their church, such as it is. Now, the priest comes by once a year, maybe twice if they're lucky, but usually just you'll go up one side of the river and then come back the other side, and it takes them about a year to do that. But when you go inside their church, you can see what pride they have. Yeah, they're poor. Yeah, they don't have McMansions. They don't have huge houses, two-car garages, and all that. But you can see the pride that they take in their religion and in their community. So it is kind of cool to see that. Now there are three kids that are standing there. So I took their picture, got the camera out. Camera goes click, and of course one of them disappears just as I take the picture. Birds and kids are very hard to take pictures of. This is the river. Uh, we're in a national park here, and you can't live in the national park, but if your family has been working the land for more than 50 years, you are allowed to leave it to a member of the family. But if you didn't have any relations to leave it to any descendants, then it would be absorbed by the park. Now you can see the house on the right, and on the left, that little shack there, that's where they cook their tapioca. They have one of those fireplaces there. But the problem is, how do you prove that you've lived there for 50 years? There's no documents. So what do? Well, on the left-hand side, you see those big tall trees? Those are Brazil nut trees, and they're not native to this particular area. They would have had to have been planted by somebody. So when you look at the size of them, the first thing you'd say is, wow, look at the size of these trees. They must be 50 years old. Well, there you go. Now you've proved that somebody has lived there 50 years and they can continue to live there. This is a tree boa. They shine a light uh, onto the shore, and then you see usually the red. You see the lights of the red of their eyes, and the problem is when you're looking at them, you realize that they're also looking at you. This is a tree boa that my wife wasn't too keen on that. There's an owl that we saw just waiting for somebody to move, and then he would swoop in to get his supper. I saw this one. I thought it was pretty good. Helpful hints for the jungle traveler. Never drag a hand in the water, in piranha infested waters. So a wise thing to do. When we did go fishing for piranhas, and this is us fishing, my wife had to listen to me all the way down because I'm like, yes, gonna fish for piranha. This is gonna be so cool. So they have bamboo sticks with a string on the end, no reel or anything like that. And you would put some meat on the hook, and the hook was attached to a piece of baling wire, and then you had the string that went to your pole. Now, if you fished when you were a kid, you were probably told, be quiet, you're scaring the fish. Well, that doesn't hold here. What you have to do is you take your bamboo pole and you bang it on the water. And when you do that, it sends vibrations through the water of and the piranha interpret that as somebody who is in trouble, an animal in trouble, and the piranhas will migrate in that area, knowing that they probably have a free lunch coming. Now you see how close we are to the shore. The guide grabbed a branch and he said to us, "Oh, by the way, I'm the only one who can take the fish off the hook." So when so somebody catches one, he said, "Okay, let me see it." And he says, "I want to show you something." So he takes it off the hook, and then he puts the branch up to the piranha, the mouth of the piranha. Chomp, and that branch just shattered. And everybody's like, and he's like, "Hey, that's going to be your finger. So you better let me. I'm the only one who can take them off." And everyone's like, "We're okay with that. Yeah, okay." Those teeth did a good number to that stick. Um, so like I said, I was all excited about catching piranha, and there's only one person that didn't catch a piranha on the ship. We were there, and we are getting ready to leave, and finally, finally caught one. Now, granted, you're looking at that saying, that's got to be the smallest piranha ever. Yeah, it is. But I caught one. So my wife was dreading listening to me all the way home saying, "Oh my God, I didn't catch a piranha." But yeah, I caught one. So I was happy. The other people caught some big ones, and the bigger ones, the guide kept them, and we brought them back to the ship, and they cooked them up, and we ate some of them. It was more of a appetizer one time for lunch. Now I told my wife, "Here, you hold the fishing rod and I'll take your picture." And she's like, "No, I don't want to catch one." So she held it for a while. I quick snapped the picture and she handed the pole right back to me. So she just did not want to catch a piranha. This guy's he has made his purchases in Manaus. We're heading back. He is in his boat, homemade boat. You take a hollow log and make it into a canoe. And so in the back there on the far right, you see him, you see what his fruit that he's probably taking back to his village so that he can either sell it or use it for himself. And in his right hand, he's got a pail, and you see that stream of water. He is bailing water out of this leaky boat. This is not a LL Bean or Cabela canoe. They have to just use what the jungle provides for them. So they had that hollow log. He made it into a canoe. They only last a couple of years, and then they degrade so much that, as you can see, this one's about ready to be replaced. We went as we're going down the stream. All of a sudden, it was just egret after egret. Like, look at them all. It was a huge mating area. And I don't know, we went a couple miles and it was just loaded. And I'm not sure how far back. I'm sure that it goes back probably a mile or more. There were just so many egrets there. We did see this in one of the swampy areas, a hydrangea. We when the guide saw me getting ready, trying to take a long distance photo of it, he brought the the canoe right over to the flower so that all I had to do was just snap a picture. One thing that gets me nervous, kids not wearing life jackets. I assume they can swim. I hope like heck they can swim. This is a slightly better boat, so maybe they are used to the water. I'm hoping though. There was a restaurant. Now we did not eat there, but there was a gift shop nearby. Now, because of the rainy season and dry season, these are floating, and so they go up and down depending on the weather. If it's rainy season, the flood, the area is going to flood up, and they just go up with the tide or with the water. But in back there, there's a big hill, and there is a pathway. You walk up this wooden elevated. It's elevated because of the water. It was all dry when we were there, but you walk up this elevated pathway that they constructed, which meets exactly zero building codes that have ever can be imagined. It was kind of interesting going over it, but you get to it and you get to a viewing area. Again, this one was tacked together, but it seemed to be holding. And there's a lot of things. Look at the size of those lily pads. If you're wondering how much, there's a baby caiman. A caiman is like a crocodile. This baby caiman, it could support them. So he was catching some rays. And then these birds that were coming in, I tried to get a picture of them in flight. The one on the left is just landing, but they have this beautiful yellow. And what they do is when they land, they tuck their wings under and you can't see it. So the bird that's in the middle there, you can't really see any yellow. But when they're flying, they look totally different. They're a magnificent bird. And I spotted a hawk. He was way the heck. The viewing area is in this swamp area. And wouldn't you know, he is about as far as you could get away from me. So I got my tripod up, and that's basically I had put my lens on, and I told my wife, stand here, and I rest it on her shoulder and take a picture. We do that back and forth. I'll do it. I'll be her tripod, and she'll be mine. Um, one less thing to carry when you're out there. But I caught up this picture, and I didn't know whether I'd get it. I mean, he was a good distance away. So I caught it. I was pretty proud of myself. And one of the other passengers said, well, why didn't you take a picture of that one? And right next to us, I didn't spot him, but right next to us is a hawk. There was another one there. So I had to take that picture too. I couldn't believe it though. Here I am going through all the trouble of getting that long distance shot. And I had one maybe 10, 15 feet away. These vultures were there for the tourists. They know that the tourists want to see caimans, so they take some dead chickens and they throw them down into the swamp. And the caimans come there, and they are sitting there with their dead chickens with their lunch, and they're not going to eat it all. But the vultures know if they go down now to grab some of that chicken, they're going to be lunch. So they wait until the caimans swim off. And they're just patiently waiting. They know when the caimans go off, they can have the chicken. So that's what they're waiting for. This bird, we saw him. This one was another one. This was quite a distance away from us. And we could notice the birds going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. So I got it lined up and focused and saw one go in. I waited a couple seconds and then I just went click, 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 click. Thank God for digital. Remember when you had to develop film and you had to be real careful because you only had like 36 pictures that all you could take. But with the digital, I just went click, 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 and I caught this one just as he was leaving. We're walking back on our rickety boardwalk, and you can look across the bay where this restaurant and floating restaurant is, and the gift shop down below. And across the way in the distance, you can see like the other side of the little bay that we're in, and it's a decent size, and it's probably the same distance to our left, but to the right is where the Amazon River, and it goes for probably 4 miles to the right. So this little bay there is quite big, huge. But why did I take this picture? And I took it because of this black tree. And there's a black tree on the right here, and it goes up, and then suddenly you see it turn white. And that's the high water mark. When you see this bay and you see the size of it, and then realize how many feet of water is going to be going through there when the rainy season, by June, this whole area will be totally flooded. It was pretty impressive. Now, I give most of my talks in the New England area, and I found this at a zoo that we went to. It said that New England would be the small barrel and then the rainforest, and how much the difference in the water. And when it starts raining there, you can't see much at all. This is how much the shoreline is right there. Trust me, it is there. You can't see it because it rains. Now, when we were hiking, we never got caught in the rain. We timed it pretty much right on the money. We would go out early, and while we're eating breakfast, the sun would do its thing, heat up the atmosphere. It would rain, pour rain for, I don't know, half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour, stop. Everything's nice and dry. We'd go for a walk, come back. By that time, the atmosphere is heating up again, gets unstable, boom, starts raining again. We'd have 3 or 4 tremendous showers a day. And when you see the water coming down the way it's coming down, you realize why that area, why that basin filled up like it did. Now, we finally made it to the Amazon. The Amazon is brown. The Rio Negro is black or well, more like a dark brown, but the Amazon has a lot of silt in it. So this is more of so it's more brown in it. Now, the Rio Negro joins up with the Amazon and then it heads to the Atlantic Ocean from there. But it takes about 4 miles or so before they actually start to mix. You have a river that's half brown and half black. And like I said, it goes like that for quite a few miles before it starts to mix. So unfortunately, the sun sets on all of our vacations. Uh, that is the end of my tour. Uh, when we were there, think about you're in the middle of nowhere, by the way, and a lot of these villages that you go by, very little to no electricity, and the sky is black, and you wouldn't believe how the stars look, the Milky Way. It was pretty spectacular. Then there was a lightning storm off in the distance, and that was pretty impressive at night. But that's it. I'm going to open it up for questions. I appreciate you guys having me. Uh, if there's any questions,
Yes. Thank you, Dana. We did have quite a few throughout the presentation, so I could just read them to you here. What we had everybody put. The first one was, is the riverway into Manus wide and deep enough for cruise ships to go on?
Uh, it should be. I mean, it does ocean going ships, but I don't know whether there's enough to see in that area, or whether cruise ships would be welcome. You know, a lot of places don't welcome them. I've never heard of one going there.
Hmm. Gotcha. We had a couple people ask, what kind of camera slash lenses did you bring with you that you took these pictures with?
I don't do anything. I don't have a real special camera. It is a Canon Rebel digital camera with the lenses that came with the thing. Nothing, I don't upgrade or anything like that. I'm not that technical. And when you see good pictures, the reason why is between my wife and I, we probably took 2,000 pictures, and you see what 60 or 70 of them here. So of course, all the ones that are out of focus and everything else are not. You don't see those. So it's not a true representation of the pictures that I take. I just take a lot of them and then take the best ones.
Hmm. Yeah, well, hey, they turned out great. So digital camera is always better than a phone camera, it seems, with the picture quality. So let's see
Oh,
the
some
next
of the
question.
yeah, go
Oh no,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, some of the phone cameras are pretty good. It's more the lens part of it, but
Hmm.
I've seen did some good pictures with the phone.
Yeah. Well, hey, the newer ones, they when they're selling them, they always pitch the camera being better. So
Yeah,
let's see. We had someone ask how long were you there for?
it was about 10 days. A couple days we stayed at, flying down there, and then there's a day at Manaus. Then we got on the boat. It picks you up right outside the river. It goes right by a hotel. You walk across there. They throw a board on. You walk across the board into to the ship. Um, yeah, it wasn't if you were handicapped, I would not say that this one would be like handicapped accessible. Um, and we were on the Rio Negro. If there may be bigger cruise ships that go not huge, not the ones you see on TV and all, but you see bigger ones that go on the Amazon.
Hmm. Gotcha. And
Amazon has more
which
boats.
which company did you use?
Oh God, no, it was just a place down in Rhode Island. The guy owns the boat. I
Mm,
couldn't begin to tell you that. It wasn't like Celebrity or Princess or anything like that. It was something that a travel agent knew about and put us in touch, set it up with the guy. So,
hmm.
and when we were our last day, as we were getting ready to leave, we were hanging out, and there was another tour group coming in, but they were there for fishing. You could tell you should have seen some of their equipment that they had. I think they had their equipment probably cost more than my car. These guys were going, serious fishing.
Hmm.
That would have been interesting to do.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Let's see. We had someone ask, did you investigate going to the Peruvian Amazon?
No, we just did this one. Uh, we've been to we did this one, then we went to Argentina and we did Iguazu Falls and things like that. But we haven't done the Peruvian end of the Amazon. We're just mostly stuck to the middle part.
Gotcha. Let's see. Here we go. One was the what's the best time of year to travel?
When your boss will give you the time off. That's what. Now we're retired, so we can do whatever we want. But back in the good old days, we had to go when we could arrange it and then try to maneuver, uh, coordinate between the best time to go and when we could get time off. We happened to be down there around January, so the December January timeframe. So the like I said, it was the end of the dry season, so it was going to start pouring rain after we left. And one of the guys said that when you're there right after the rainy season, he says the water just drains right away, and he says when it drains, it leaves behind a lot of fertilize fertilizer and seeds, and that he says that the shores just explode in color.
Yeah, I'd imagine with all the rain coming in.
Yep.
Let's see. We had one person ask, did you see the pink dolphins?
Yes, we did. Well, just the dolphins that we saw that were all you see is the back end of them coming up. That was the color wasn't the best because it was pouring rain when at that time period. I just you got to take the shots when you get them because you don't know when you're going to see or if you're going to see them again.
Hmm. We had a few people here, it looks like, asking about when you were done with hikes, did you have to check your clothes for bugs or things like that when you returned?
Yeah, always a good thing to do. Yeah, that and we had to take our shoes off because our shoes would be caked in mud, and the crew would clean our shoes. We had more expensive LL Bean boots, shoes that would made for walking in wet areas, where a lot of people just had their normal Nikes, and they were complaining their shoes never dried out. You did have trouble drying clothes if they got wet because the humidity there. But
Hmm.
yeah, you would want to check for bugs, and we would do that. You don't want to. That's the last thing you need is to have bring a bug that's going to do you some harm.
Hmm. And it looks like the last question was how is tipping handled? Is it like here in the US or different?
Well, we didn't we stayed like a day or so at the hotel, so we weren't really tipping that much. A little bit at at the dinner. I don't quite remember that, but I know at the end of the cruise, we'd tip the guides. And by
Hmm.
then, they dropped us off at the hotel, and then a bus would pick us up, and we were gone. So there wasn't, uh, other than the guides and a little bit at the hotel when you were staying there. Uh, my wife and I, we probably over tip, but eh, hey, it's only money, right?
Yeah. Hey, we're Americans is what we do.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Well,
I
if
mean,
those are
we have significantly more than what they do. So a friend of mine went to Nepal and gave the guy $5 for a tip, and then found the guy was living in the corridor of the hotel in case he needed something, because he had never been tipped that much money in all his life. So yeah, tipping is different, can be different around the country, around the world.
yeah, definitely. Let's see, we had someone ask just now, what kind of four-legged animals did you see?
We didn't really see too much. Most of have there. You'll see it's tough to see through the jungle. There might be some cougars there, but we lucked out and didn't see those. We were in where did we take that? Belize. Where we were, there's a good chance the place that we stayed. There's a good chance of seeing cougars, pumas, but uh, again, we didn't see any. They have a tendency to avoid you, so you don't have to worry too much about them.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure they're deeper in the
And
wilderness and they
yeah,
got
yeah,
plenty
they
of
want to
space, so.
avoid. Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I think those are all the questions we got, so thank you again, Dana. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks
Real
for
quick,
having me.
of course.
How did you? I got one question for you. How did you find out about me? Do you know?
I would have to ask Judy Bach. She's the chair.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Because I'm
But
like, how'd they find?
I'm sure she probably did a little sleuthing. Maybe she came across one of your Civil War articles. You never know.
Yeah, could have. All right.
And the travelogue next month is going to be on Mexico City, presented by Derek Barthel. He's a board member. And yeah, we will send out more info about those as we get closer. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. And Dana, thanks again for presenting and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Well, thank you. Take care.
All right, you too. Thanks.